Alrighty, welcome back. Another episode of Post-Fades Cheesesteaks, episode 139, I believe. We're getting pushing
Wow.
close to 150 soon. Look at that.
We'll probably get 150 before the season starts. That'd be big.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because we got I still like 10 NFL position groups to cover, and then NBA Finals, Stanley Cup, Phillies, anything else that comes up. So yeah,
It's
we got
pretty
time.
amazing because I feel like us and, a quarter of the population all started podcasts in 2020 when COVID hit.
Hmm.
But we're still keep going. Everyone got past their, podcast sourdough,
Hmm.
phase. The vaccine came out.
The sourdough.
We're still sticking around. We're still doing our thing. But it's all
Uh,
right. We're going strong. We have our moments. We survived two continents, a pandemic,
two
and
co
everything in
yeah,
between.
a pandemic, two continents, and
We got
hard to
everything in between
schedule,
there.
but we're here. We're live.
5 hour time difference, baby. We never stop.
Nah. But yeah, so today going to continue our top 10 players going into the 2023 season series. It's a mouthful. We did start off with defensive ends, so hand in the ground. Um,
Naturally.
and now we are going to transition to the edge rushers. So seems like a
Most,
good back-to-back
oh, of
episode there.
course. Mostly because we don't really know how to
Nobody
differentiate
does.
between
Nobody,
D
three
end and
four,
outside
four
linebacker.
three. Are you playing safety and then you're on the line? Nobody knows.
I
No,
mean, you're on this team playing a 3-4. You're an outside linebacker. Now you side with this team. You're a
that's
DN. You're a
that's
4-3.
true.
Where are we at? Who knows? Most of the time, we just make it up on the fly, but I think we're pretty good at that.
Isn't that what happened with Khalil Mack? Wasn't he hand in the ground with the Raiders and then he was outside linebacker with the Bears?
You know what? Maybe. And now we're at the Chargers,
I don't
and
know.
I'm
Yeah.
counting him as an outside linebacker, even though we had Joey Bosa as a DN. But who knows? We'll just keep it going.
No, I'm counting Khalil Mack as an edge rusher. So
Yeah, no, me too. Even though I had his teammate as a DN, but who cares? We're here, we're there, wherever we're in between.
edge rushers are on the table for today. Timothy, what are we sipping on there? A little Stella action.
This
Oh, a
is
little
European Bud Light.
European. Is that what they sell over there for you guys in the
Pretty
England?
much, yeah. They sell it next to the Budweiser. You get Budweiser over here, but that's about it. They don't
Mm,
do light beer. They don't.
mm.
It's a
That's
so
eh.
Stella's about as light as you get.
I'm cracking up a classic here, an old school, little not your father's root beer. Haven't had one
I
of them
love it.
in a jiffy, but
I remember I worked at this sports bar, shout out Duffy's, down in Florida in
hmm.
like 2015, 16, around there.
Okay.
And we did those not your father root beer floats, and like
Ooh,
we,
ooh.
we could not stock it. Like it was like
That was the
everyone and their grandmother
that was
wanted
those were
it.
the years that it got really really popular, and now
After
we're
that though,
yeah
never
they
heard of it
thought
again.
I couldn't find it for the longest time. I was getting them for a friend, and then I was in the beer distributor, and I was like, "Do you guys have not your father's root beer?" They're like, "Oh yeah, it's in the fridge. Just walk down a little." It was just a single row of six packs. And I was like, "You got 500 different spiked iced teas here, but you have one one six pack of not your father's root beer." I was like, "Yeah, well, whatever."
Listen, this is one kind of one kind of brand market, And you know what? That story makes me happy because you strike me as, I mean, between the beard, the long hair, you strike me as a 1 6 pack in the beer distributor, like far corner freezer kind of guy. Like you're like come in, ask for a brand. They're like, oh, you know what? Yeah, we were about to throw it away, but yeah, there's one I think hanging out in the back quarter behind the White Claws. Go ahead, go at it.
Whenever I go into the one local pub, they're always like, "Oh, what do you like? You like IPAs, right?" I was like, "I don't ever order IPAs." I was like, "Do I give
I'll take
off
a
that
root beer.
vibe? Do I give off that vibe?
You
Give
do,
me
you
give
do,
me a porter, give me some Guinness, give me a stout,
or
but
a root beer.
or root beer." um, but without further ado, so yes, edge rushers, um, top 10 for this year. I'm curious. I think we'll have a very similar list, but there might be some differences in the back end. But the
There's
rankings
always.
should be intriguing. So we'll start off with honorable mentions. I'll kick rocks on this one first.
Hmm.
I have a guy who stepped up when one of his players got hurt, who was also on this list. His teammates, I mean, Mr. Alex Highsmith from the Pittsburgh
Oh,
Steelers. Yeah. coming in. I would give him
Okay.
like number 11 or 12 here, so honorable mention. But he played pretty
Okay.
well. Pretty high motor guy, and a younger player who's you know learning behind TJ Watt never hurts. So, and he got an opportunity to play more when he got hurt. So, I think he's gonna be nice for them. The Steelers always have just good players all over the field, so it's not
They're
surprising.
like they just develop defenders so well. You know,
Yeah,
they take just
and wide
they've
receivers
never
somehow. I don't.
they never draft like top five. They just keep churning out quality guys, you know. And I mean, you know, it helps to play, you know, behind TJ Watt, but also help plays on the other side of TJ Watt.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I like that. I actually also have Alex Highsmith in my honorable mentions.
Oh,
He's
okay.
there. He's scratching the surface.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree. He stepped up when the opportunity was there. TJ Watt went down, moments was there, snaps were there, and he stepped up.
Hmm. Um, and then not going to touch on this guy too quick because Tim did talk about him in our defensive ends episode because I didn't know what position he played clearly. But I'm going to give Jalen Phillips a honorable mention here for edge rushers from Miami Dolphins. Like Tim said, really good young player. Really coming to his own. I mean, that defense is pretty stacked right now with secondary they have and Wilkins on the D line too. So yeah, it's good. Only going to be up for him, and he's a high motor guy. Chases the ball carrier, doesn't give up on the play. So good player. And
Well,
then was
go
that
ahead.
okay?
No, go ahead. I didn't
This
mean
one
to
was
stop the
tough.
train.
This one I coin flipped with my number 10. But I feel like he kind of had a down year for him. I mean, the team as a whole was pretty horrid. Um, Injury riddled. Um, but he was also coming off an injury too, so it kind of hurts his odds. But Shaq Barrett from the Buccaneers, I thought he had a bad year. Tough coming back from I think it was a knee injury. Um, but yeah, he just barely misses my number 10 spot there. But that's my three honorable mentions. I won't strangle out four or five. I'll keep the three. So
Well, I mean, I only have two, so I didn't have as many participation trophies as you did to give out.
I love giving out
Um,
participation trophies. You know this.
oh, we know. But you know what? I listen. You were off to a bad start because I actually agree with you on two of them.
That's
Because I only
crazy.
give two participation trophies. I already, you know, I touched on Highsmith. Two honorable mentions, and I actually have both their teammates in my top 10.
Hmm.
So I did have Alex Highsmith, who amazingly stepped up in it. You know, TJ Watt was out. Listen, NFL is all about opportunities. Stepped up, tied for the league lead in forced fumbles.
Hmm.
And then I also had Jalen Phillips, a guy who next year when we do these rankings, he is going to rise the most. He's about to break out. He's got the motor, he's got the skill set, he's got the athleticism, and he plays across from my number 10 guy. So I'm going to go right into his teammate, a guy who I think is a top-notch pass rusher. Big trade in the middle of the season to, you know, bring him over to Miami. Guy who still managed to put up, I think, was 8 sacks
Ah, yeah,
after
yeah.
splitting time between two teams. And I think him and Jalen Phillips are going to be a nasty duo next year. So we're going to go roll into Bradley Chubb here.
Wow. Yeah, he interesting. I did not have him in my list or my honorable mentions. So
Really?
yeah, I
Would've.
he's been very meh, I feel like. I don't know. Maybe it's just the numbers that I'm seeing aren't too exciting. I mean, I know he's a disruptor, but I feel like he's not lived up to his draft grade these past couple
I
years. But
mean, last year, I mean, or
he was
not
supposed
last
to
year,
be the
but
next Vaughn Miller, and he is not the next Vaughn Miller. But
no, no one, yeah, Von Miller doesn't grow on trees. Like last episode we did,
it would be
I had
nice.
Joey Bosa on number 10. Another, I think, skill wise, top notch skill wise, veteran D end
Sure.
edge rusher who's been awful. Listen, I won't argue. I won't argue with you. Bradley Chubb is not at the same level what we used to, and he has not touched the same, you know, level play that we saw when he was playing opposite Von Miller in Denver. But I still think edge rusher wise, he's still a top 10 guy. You know, outside the honorable mention guys are two guys that I think are going to be pretty good. They're playing Robin to the Batmans,
Okay.
but they're two guys that I think are going to keep getting better. I think Bradley Chubb's going to have a big year next year, too. Phillips and Bradley Chubb playing
And that
against
on
each
that
other.
defense, I sure hope so. He's got all the makings to have a great year. So
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, Miami gave up a first round pick to bring him in. They had a first round pick to burn, but he's going to be a big player. Him, Christian Wilkins, and Jalen Phillips, that is going to be a defensive line to fear. Factor
Yeah,
in with the secondary they're pulling out with
they stay healthy.
Ramsey, Howard, and now out there. Like this is a nice little duo there or defense they're putting together. I think Bradley Chubb has got the upside. I think he's got the proven, pedigree. I think he's going to be very nice. I think this 10 ranking next year is going to be something that we look back on and think, why would we ever do this? But
Hmm.
hey, I mean, I'm surprised. I'm actually stunned that you went higher on the young guy than you did the veteran. Teammates, too. I'm shocked.
Yeah,
This is a new Dakota. I'm not used to this Dakota.
I am. I'm going for the younger players here. It's a little different, but
Did it take, well, this is our fourth year, so it took 3 years to finally convince you, like my way of thinking, and now you're on board?
maybe I was just tired of hearing it so much that it kind of got like engraved in my head, and I'm like, I have to like think like you now. But
Were you tired of it just constantly being right?
I don't know about that. But
Not many misses, but hey, go on,
okay.
I'm curious. All right, so we got one guy. We matched on honorable mentions, but we got one guy on my list that you don't have on yours. So where's your different guy that I don't have?
So this guy is a four-time Pro Bowler.
Hmm,
He's actually only a year older than me and you, which is kind of
wow.
scary.
Don't know
Um,
if I like that fact. You
no,
don't
I
have
don't
to,
like that.
you don't have to bring my age into this
I
whole
don't like.
thing.
I saw 1992, and I was like, oh
Well, that's
wow.
2 years older than me, my friend.
Okay, well, a year older than me, whatever. Yeah, former played some ball in Baltimore for a little bit, and now he's been with the New England
Hmm.
Patriots the last two seasons. Had a really good
Wow.
but
Are you kidding me? Keep going. Keep going.
okay. Had 15 and a half sacks this year.
Oh, so you're just gonna act like 15 and a half sacks get you in at number 10?
I mean, it might have been a little disrespectful, but it's my list. Don't worry about it.
Listen, I'm not the one saying disrespectful. I know that 15 and a half sacks get you a little bit higher on any normal person's list.
Well, I'm curious to
Go
see where
on,
you
because
have him, but
I'd love to hear why he's number 10. There's nine better players than him.
I'm not gonna lie. Looking at my list, he might have accidentally swapped with my number nine, but he's still 9 or 10 on mine. I think so.
Amazing. I don't know where we're going with this one, but sure,
I
go ahead.
mean,
Keep going.
I mean, his time with the Patriots, he's been really good. When he was with the Ravens, he was still good, but not as proficient in sacks and getting after the quarterback. But
He has been
um,
on the Ravens for 2 seasons, and that's what you're holding him against. This is
I'm not,
Joey Bosa,
I'm not,
rookie defensive player of
I'm
the
not
year all
holding it
over
against. He's
again.
got four straight Pro Bowls. I'm not holding anything against him. It's my list. Get off me.
Listen, four
Uh,
straight Pro Bowls and 15 and a half
15,
sacks, that gets you at number 10. I don't know.
up. 15 and a half sacks, 28 QB hits, 14 tackles for loss, 60 combined tackles. Great year.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I,
But
I would agree.
I'm looking forward, so
Oh, yes,
slotting
yes.
him in here at number 10. And I mean he's 30, he's gonna I mean, I have some other really older players on my list too, but um yeah,
My favorite thing about talking to you about this is like you usually find a way to just discredit yourself.
I know. I always second guess every every decision.
So he's coming off a career year, but
Mhm.
yet we don't like his outlook.
I'm not gonna lie, I might want to switch him, but we're gonna keep him at 10.
Oh, you got to stick to your morals at this
Oh
point.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not a scum tooth.
It's debatable, but go on.
That's about it, because I'm sure you have him and you'll talk about him too. So Mad Judon I got here number 10. So
Fall on your sword, I guess,
mm.
All right. Well, yeah, Matthew Judon is much higher on my list as he should be. I don't know about that one. I'm surprised. This is the biggest surprise I've seen from you so far this season. Very, very
Yeah.
highly debatable. So yeah, I'm gonna go number 9. We got a former first round pick, guy I really like, who's been pretty consistent since he got in the league. He's gotten better and better, and he's on a team who keeps getting better and better. So he's kind of grown with this team. He, second highest rush defender against against the rush, which I really like among the outside linebackers. You'll notice in this top 10, we have a lot of pass rushers, pass rush specialists. But if you look at my boy Josh Allen's rush grade,
I
guy
can't
plays
believe
the run
we have the
real
same
well.
number 9. Are you kidding me?
Listen, you know, you
I
really
thought it
went
was
out on a
gonna be
limb on 10.
different. I didn't think you had him on your list. I was like, oh, he's gonna love this. I got Josh Allen, young guy,
No, no,
out
no.
of
You went
Jacksonville.
all you surprised me with Matthew Judon on 10. We matched up on the honorable
Son
mentions
of
at
a
number 9.
bitch.
You know, you came back to world. Came back to life. But no, I mean, I like Josh Allen. He's always been a consistent guy, always gotten better every year. But I think what really makes him a top 10 guy is that rush defense, or the rush defender in him. He's always been a pass rush guy, always puts up the sack numbers, plays for some terrible teams. But now that the Jaguars are becoming more legit, I feel like I can actually give some props and credit to Jaguar players now, and it actually makes sense. It's not like, oh, he had 8 sacks on a one-win team. No, no, he's playing well now. Team's playing well now, so I think he's comfortable in this number 9 spot.
Wow.
No, I know. Took your breath away. You took my breath away when you put Matthew Judon on number 10.
Well, I was gonna come in with a really cheesy introduction, say Josh Allen,
Oh,
but
did
not
I
the not the
take it away from
Buffalo
you?
quarterback, Josh Allen.
Oh, that's the low-hanging fruit. You're better than that.
Yeah, I know. But
But go ahead. I don't want to keep you on took the grab your tongue here.
I mean, I don't have too much to add. I just a lot of things you said. I think young guy, and I mean, I'm glad Peterson went to the Jaguars because I really love their team right now. They're shaping up pretty solid. I mean, you got Calvin Ridley coming back now. Um, and they've had a lot of good defensive players that like started out good with them and then they kind of like faded out or they went to other teams. But I really like. I mean, he's fast. This Josh Allen is
He
fast, and
is.
he's
Yeah, he is
he's
very
a
fast.
he's a ball hawk for like an edge rusher. Like he's just always not like interceptions and stuff, but like he's just always around the ball, making plays in the
He's a
backfield.
playmaker. I mean, he's the best player on that defense.
Oh,
I would say.
absolutely, yeah. So I don't really have much to add to it. I think I'm surprised we already have a similar agreement on a number for a player here, but yeah,
Yeah, we're
big
polar
fan of
opposites on your number 10.
big fan of Josh Allen. He went to Kentucky, I think.
He did.
Not
Fun
like a
fact.
huge
He
football school, but
he stayed at my hotel when I was working in Orlando at Marriott. We hosted the say it was the Orange Bowl. Penn State played Kentucky.
hmm.
And we hosted him and Benny Snell. Gotta be honest, Josh Allen, stand-up guy. He requested a crib in his room and everything. Benny Snell, complete asshole. Benny Snell is a scumbag. Benny Snell was like trying to fight bar managers, and he was having none of it. He was, do you know who I am kind of guy, and yeah, not a fan. Do not like. I root against Benny Snell, but I like Josh Allen. He's a good guy. He was lights out at 10 o'clock, crib in bed, because he was the same guy who brought his kid on the stage when he got drafted. Same
Oh
guy.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he brought his kid with him to the hotel when they played Penn State and Orange Bowl right before he got drafted. So stand up guy. I like Josh Allen. Benny Snell, scumbag.
Hmm.
Fun fact.
Fair enough. All right. So we're at number 8 now.
Eighth grade.
So
I'm just dying to know how your list shakes out now that we know Bradley Chubb's off it, Matthew Judon's already been taken off. So I guarantee you have one person that I am just gonna hate. So let's find out where he is. What's number 8?
so this one was tough. I kind of
Okay.
went I kind of went with the idea that he's going to play better. He is
Don't like how this starts.
he was injured last year. I mean, he did manage to play 15 games.
Okay.
But he was pretty hobbled. His numbers aren't really great. He had 38 tackles, 15 QB hits, only 4.5 sacks. So the numbers aren't good. But he's been a
You're
phenomenal
really
player for a
fighting
long,
for him.
huh?
You're really fighting for
Well,
this guy.
it's more than stats, but he's been a phenomenal player for a long time. He's a former Super Bowl champ, a 4-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All Pro. He's on the All Hall of Fame 2010 Decades team. And I
Hmm.
think with Max Crosby and with the new guy they drafted, that Chandler Jones is going to have a nice little bounce back year.
Wow.
So, so I penciled him in. I thought, I gave him a lot of shit last year, and you ridiculed me for that. So I looked at the grand scheme of things, and I was like, you know what? I could see him rebounding. I could see him having a good productive year for the Las Vegas Raiders. And I actually wrote down Oakland Raiders in my notes. So that they've been in Vegas for how long now, and I still can't remember that they're not in Oakland anymore, but that's besides the point. Chandler Jones is
I'm
overrated.
shocked. I'm shocked.
I'm coming at you with the
You
heat on this list.
Yeah, but your list never make any sense. You shitted on a guy last year,
I know.
and now you're going to reward him for a bad year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does he get rewarded for a bad year?
Because you proved me
This
correct. So now
four,
I gotta I gotta flip the script.
See, this is what amazes you. I mean, I usually go out of my way to, reiterate how right I am on my picks.
Mm-hmm.
You are like going out of your way to like highlight the fact that you made a terrible pick and reward them. I don't really get it. You 4.5 sacks, yeah, three in one game. I he's
That is true.
he's
Hey, it
33.
changes. It
What
changes.
makes you think that he's gonna have a bounce back year in his 33-year-old season?
I think their defense got a little stronger. And I think another year where he's getting healthy. Well, yeah, he's up there in age now. He's 33, but I don't know. I just feel like
You
he's.
just shit on Matthew Judon for being 30.
Oh, I know. I said that, and then I mentioned that I have like
Oh,
tons of old players on this list, so it is what it is.
so hold on. So can we just recap? So we're gonna put Matthew Judon on number 10, and we don't like his outlook coming off a career year at
Mm-hmm.
30,
Mm-hmm.
but we like Chandler Jones at 33 coming off probably his worst season of his entire career.
I will say I'm more right than I'm wrong on these
Oh, that's
podcasts.
highly debatable.
I
Very
mean,
debatable.
Derwin James, Kevin Byard, you were pretty far off
Jonathan
the.
Taylor.
Oh, Jonathan Taylor. Okay, he was
Just saying.
he wasn't very good this year. I mean,
It was pretty good the year you shit on him. Wow, really? So this is a tough sell, man. So he's coming off his worst year.
this is why these lists are
So he's
fun
coming to
because I
his
can put
worst
whoever
year of
I
his
want here.
career.
I could
His
put Tim
worst year of
Mullen
his
at number
career.
6 if I wanted.
Worst year of his career, and you move him up in your rankings because we
Because I'm
like the outlook.
projecting. You rank on
Oh
like what
yes.
did they
Oh
do
yeah.
last year? I rank on what their history is, what I think they're gonna do, what their outlook is like. I think he's
Did
gonna
he
have a good
also
year.
win Defensive Rookie of the Year? Is that what we're giving him?
I don't think he won Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Because I like that you name dropped his Super Bowl he won, what, almost 10 years ago?
I was just reading it off a line of stats. That was
Yeah, you skipped over the
what did he
stats for his last
what did he
season.
win that with? New England?
The Patriots. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
nice.
Wow, I mean, you really you never cease to amaze me.
I
Guy
try.
has the worst year of his career, but we're positive about his outlook. Guy has the best year of his career. Don't
When
know if he can keep it up.
when I put him down, I started laughing because I was like, "Oh, Tim's gonna love this."
You are. You know what? We hit on the honorable mentions. I thought we were going to be on the same wavelength, but you're right back to it.
So
But all right,
two
let's.
way out of left field, and then one was the same so far. I'm curious to see how this goes.
All right, well, here, funny enough, because at my number 8, I also have a veteran,
Oh,
a proven, stud veteran. He's a 7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All Pro. He's a Defensive Player of the Year. He's actually coming off a Pro Bowl season, unlike Chandler Jones, who had his worst year of his career. Played all 17 games, and you know what? He came up big. I mean, his numbers aren't the best. He had 8 sacks, but it's nothing to look past. 12 tackles for loss, a couple QB hits in there. But if you factor in like his running mate, we already hit on in the last episode. He was hurt. He was inconsistent. He did not step up. First year with the Chargers, he played, I think, well. Name gets a lot of recognition, but he came off the Pro Bowl. So I'm going with Khalil Mack, an elite player who, unlike Chandler Jones, isn't coming off the worst year of his entire career.
uh, so 10,
Oh, here we go.
10
Here we
was
go.
outrageous. 9 we had the same. 8 was outrageous. Now we're at 7. I also have Khalil Mack.
So 6 is going to
Uh,
be outrageous. I like the consistency.
no, six is pretty 6 is pretty solid.
All right,
Um,
roll. Give me, unless you got something on Khalil Mack, roll back into 6 because I can't help myself. I just need these even numbers are out of control. Every time you say an even number, it's just ridiculous.
oh yeah, no, Khalil Mack. Yeah, I don't. I mean, he's pretty self-explanatory. I think he's another player, like you said. I think he's gonna have a bounce. But he had a weird season with the Chargers. because the numbers
I
are
think
on.
it's
I don't.
not bad. It was a
No, it's
pretty
not
solid
bad.
year.
I just don't know if they were like if they couldn't figure out how to use them properly or whatever. But I mean, they low key created like a super defensive team over there. Bringing in all Jace
A
Jackson.
lot of her players. J.C.
That yeah,
Jackson,
they
Joey
had.
Bosa.
I think they I think they were the number one most injured team in NFL last year. I forget what the stat was. Like most like changed lineups or something, or most like starting combinations. Like they were up there.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to
And
look
then
past.
they blew a 28 was it 20 nothing lead in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty ugly.
that was
Pretty
pretty bad.
ugly. Fun fact: I was in Arizona for a bachelor party when that game happened. I bet the Jaguars to start the game because listen, Dougie P, he's going to ball out in the playoffs, and the Chargers are a loser team that never been to the playoffs. And I got an Uber after the game because I had to go to the airport. And I remember just being ecstatic because I won my money. The game was like a wild game, and I love Dougie P, so of course I was really. And I had an Uber pick me up, and she never watched football in her life. And goddamn, she was in for a trip because I went to explain to her the in-depth knowledge of football I have. I was like, I had to just tell her about the special play that a 2-point conversion is, how awesome WP was. It helps that I, tipped her $60 through Venmo, not even Uber, to drive me and my drunk ass there. But, I was ecstatic. I taught her all about football that she didn't want to know. But I'll never forget trying to explain to her that a 2-point conversion is a special play and how many times WP hit that special play.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, blow my mind. Who's that number 6?
I thought no, it's you go first. So you're number
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
six.
I'm just giddy because your list is out of control. So, all right. Well, I'm actually at number 7.
I love
Number
my
7.
list.
Number 7. I'm gonna go with a guy you've already mentioned, actually.
Oh wait, this is your
Uh,
seven?
yeah,
Who was eight? Khalil Mack?
of course. Pay
Oh,
attention.
okay. So Khalil Mack was eight. Khalil Mack was seven for me.
So number 7, I have a
Got
guy
you.
you already mentioned.
Got
A
you.
guy I actually like his situation he's going to. He's going to be lining up opposite my number 1 D end. He had
Oh,
78 pressures last year, which was
nice.
fourth among edge defenders.
Nice.
Came off a came off of a very injured season. Throw up 10 sacks while you're at it. Had 15 quarter tackles for loss. Big year with Minnesota. Had a Pro Bowl. Bounce back year for sure. So I'm going with Zadarius Smith. Very excited for him to play against Miles. Playing on the opposite side of Miles Garrett, and I think he's in for big numbers.
See, this is exactly what I said when I said that the back end's going to be a little weird, but then once we get towards the front of the list, it'll be fine.
Oh no, you've got one more that doesn't make sense. You have one more locked in the chamber that doesn't make sense. I'm sure.
I have one player that probably should have been on this list, but is not, and he wasn't even in my honorable mentions, which is kind of disrespectful. But
Oh, geez, here we go.
um, yeah. But anyways, I had
Oh,
Zadarius Smith at number six in my
did
list.
you?
So yeah,
Okay, yeah, that's not bad. All right, we're pretty
yeah.
mild here.
Like you said, changing teams, going over to the Cleveland Browns. Um, I mean, I really didn't understand the point of the Ravens dumping him off, but I mean,
Can't sign everyone. You
I
had
don't
Matthew
know.
Judon waiting, so why not?
Yeah. Um, not too much to add to it. I mean, he's how old is he now? 30. So my half my list is probably like 30 and up. But
Yeah, there's no surprise there.
apparently he went to East, is this community college? East Mississippi Community College.
Is that the one from Netflix? The Last Chance You?
Is it? Or
I,
you just make that up?
maybe.
I don't know. NFL alumni. Oh,
Zadarius Smith.
There's a Dakota Allen. I don't know who that is, but
What is that a city or a person?
oh, linebacker.
A cousin? Oh,
I
I
don't
don't
know
know why
any of
that's
these players
relevant.
except for Zadarius Smith that went to this
Well,
college.
you don't know anyone from East Mississippi University? I'm shocked.
East Mississippi Community College.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I'm almost positive that's the one from Last Chance You.
At least I assume that's what CC stands for, unless something Carbon College. I don't know.
I don't think Carbon College is an actual thing.
I don't know.
But all right, shout out Zadarius Smith from
Shout out Zadarius Smith.
East.
And then he transferred to Kentucky, another Kentucky boy. So
Fun fact: it is East Mississippi County Community College is from Last Chance U.
Look at
I'm gonna
you.
have to rewatch that.
Look
I'm
at
gonna have
you.
to rewatch that and find Zadarius Smith. But I feel like it's not been around that long. I feel like Zadarius Smith was probably like right before the show got big,
Was
maybe.
that was that the one when was Marshawn Lynch on that?
I don't think so. No, he Marshawn Lynch was winning Super Bowls when that show started, or
Uh,
Super Bowl.
hmm. Okay.
Needless to say, this is where we need a production company that producers that we're paying for these fact checks. But we're pulling a lot of stuff our ass. That's why Chandler Jones is in the top 10 and Dakota's got Matthew June on a 10. So
Oh, we would be it would we wouldn't be allowed to have a manager. We would just yell at them the whole time. They'd give us stats and we'd say no, those are false. And they'd be like, no, I'm literally reading them off the stat sheet. What do you mean?
well, that'd probably be you. Someone trying to, well, Chandler Jones coming off the worst year of his career. No, no, not relevant. He won the defensive rookie of the year.
I
All right,
will say
moving on. Just
I am curious now you where you have some of the one player that I know I should have put on my top 10 that's not. I'm
okay.
curious if he's even on your list. So we'll get there, but
Moving on to a player that is young and
mhm.
actually still very relevant, coming off a career year. So I'm sure
Oh,
you didn't rank him. Came off 12 and a half sacks, played all of his games, forced one fumble. He 17 tackles for loss, a couple quarterback hits. He is a pass rush specialist, something that, one of those guys that leaves one focus, and that's get the quarterback. And he does it pretty well since he got in the league. Young guy coming out. Apparently, he's worth more than 2 first-round picks. So we're going to go with Brian Burns here from the Carolina Panthers.
ooh, I like that.
Yeah, we're going right back to Burns cracking the top six. Good guy, great pass rush guy. The Panthers defense in general is young with Derek
Hmm.
Brown, him, J.C. Horn. I know the whole rumor, the Rams were offering 2 first-round picks. They turned it down. Can't necessarily blame them. You got a defense that's young, a team that's young, want to grow with them. And outside of quarterback, I think edge rusher is the most valuable position. I don't blame him from turning down those picks. So we're going Brian Burns at number 6 because I value him like the Carolina Panthers do.
Hmm. All right. I like Brian Burns. He'll be coming up shortly. Um,
Oh, there you go.
sort of, yeah. We're six or five. No, Zary Smith was my six, and Brian Burns was your six.
He was, yes.
Okay. So number five is a player that, again, a little longer in the tooth. Um,
Nope, that's no surprise there.
um, but he's a guy who, when I look at what he means to his team, um, especially after the big move he made to come over to that team. And we talked about it at the end of the year when he got injured, how important it was that he was like, you could see a difference on that team's defense when he wasn't on the field. And it hurt them in the playoffs. So my number five, a future Hall of Famer, two-time Super Bowl champ, eight-time Pro Bowler, former
Oh,
Super Bowl MVP, Von Miller of the Buffalo
wow.
Bills.
I just don't understand. Do you watch football or you just skip over it? And
What's your complaint now?
what has Von Miller ever done that makes you think he is not a top 3 player in his position or top 5?
He's number five.
Okay, so top 3 player in his position.
Well, he's 34. He's coming off a bit his second ACL tear.
Chandler Jones is 33, and you were propping him up off a bad
That's why
year
he's
as
number
he's
eight.
gonna.
Vaughn's number five. What do you mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. Your logic never makes sense.
34 coming off an ACL. That's look at JJ Watt. What's he doing right now? He couldn't
I
stay
mean, he's
healthy. He started getting hurt at that older age, and now he's retired. So I'm putting that into a factor. Otherwise, he'd be like you said, two or three. But I'm looking at body of work from last season going into this
hmm.
year, and then obviously I always look at their history, but I think five's good. I have a two younger players ahead of him, a guy who came off a career year, and arguably the probably both are number ones. So I don't think it's too far off.
Bold. I just
I think
I
I
don't think
defended myself pretty well.
I don't.
Okay, well,
Because your same logic that you use for propping up Chandler Jones is what you're using to tear down Von Miller. And nothing he did, I get it. Yeah, he did get hurt. You're right about that. But when he played,
ACL.
one, he was dominant during that Rams Super
I
Bowl.
know.
And two, I think the Bills fall apart in the playoffs because they didn't have Von Miller. They didn't have anyone that
That's
could
what I
get through the
just said.
Bengals line. I mean, that helps his case, if
I
anything.
know. But you have to look at the fact that he is 34 going into what year is this? I don't know. It doesn't tell me. His 11th, 12th year coming off an
I
ACL.
mean, your
That's
boy
tough.
JJ Watt coming off an ACL. Granted, he wasn't 34, I'll give you that. But coming off an ACL, he was an all-pro. He led the league in forced fumbles and had 16 sacks.
And
So if that's the example,
what did the Cardinals do? Did they make the playoffs when he
he
was
was
on the team?
he was actually in Houston. But yeah, the Bills will make the playoffs regardless if Von Miller has an ACL or not.
He finished his career in Arizona.
I know, but he tore his ACL in 2017.
And then what happened after that? More injuries, and he couldn't stay healthy. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be a anti-optimist, pessimist, but I'm just looking at this is how the cookie crumbles for these players at this age. I hope he fucking does well and has 30 sacks, but
we'll see.
I'm a
All
big
right,
fan of
we'll
Von
leave.
Miller. I'm just trying to be realistic, you know?
Fair enough. All right, well, I'm going to go back to a guy and my number five, a guy that you already mentioned idiotically, a guy who's coming off his best season of his
I
entire
mean,
career.
10 was a little
12
mean, but
and
number 5 is a little. I don't know about
I
5.
disagree. He's coming off an incredible season.
Okay,
Where else are you going to put him? I did
your
not
list.
prop up Chandler Jones off his terrible year. I'm rewarding Matthew Judon for an incredible year. So we're going to go through a guy who coming off 12 and a half sacks,
Hmm.
playing in a defense led by arguably the greatest defensive mind in NFL history. I definitely don't think that pairing is going to, suddenly forget how to play football effectively. So I'm going with Matthew Judon, who I think is just Bill Belichick's next superstar. I don't see him falling apart. I don't see him regressing like you do. I'm going to reward him coming off his career year. And I just think it's a match made in heaven that's going to keep on grinding. So I got Matthew Judon at number 5 where he should be.
Fair enough. I don't know. I I'm not gonna argue. I just
Yeah, number 10, you would think you had some kind of argument to bring him down, but, we'll leave it alone.
so that was your number 5. Your number 4 must be someone I don't have on my list then.
I sure hope you do. But go ahead. Tell me who your number 4
We're
is.
running out of players. So my number 4 is a guy you already mentioned. That at a point in time, I really, really, really wanted the Eagles to go and get him, but I did not want them to give up 2 first-round picks, like you mentioned. Um, for some reason, the Panthers always have like one absolute stud on defense. I remember Julius Peppers and then Greg Hardy and stuff. Like they always had a really good player on the line. Um, so my number 4, coming off back-to-back Pro Bowl years, and now going to be going into his 5th season, Mr. Brian Burns.
Hmm.
Tim already hit the head on the nail. He's a great young up and coming player. 22 QB hits. He had 17 tackles for loss, which is really big. It means he's around the ball. 63 combined tackles, and just like Matt Judon, 12 and a half sacks. Playing 16 games. I like his trajectory. He's going to be if the hopefully the Panthers keep him around. I don't think they're doing like a soft rebuild,
I mean,
kind
you
of.
turned down 2 first-round picks. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah. So I like his future. He'll be a continuous Pro Bowl All Pro player for a while here. Um, he's only what they don't even, like. He's so young they can't even put his age on his profile here on Pro Football Reference. So how about that? Apparently he didn't go to college either. They don't have any of that information.
Well, he did go to Florida State. He was
Oh,
first round draft pick when
There
he
it
was
is.
25.
I
Yeah,
found it.
I
Florida
show up on
State.
my research.
Yeah, 25. So
Okay, well, hey, I'm rolling into my number 4, and I really hope you have this guy on your list. A guy who spent most of his career as a pass rush specialist, not in like that's all he does. It's like as in he was a rotational guy who would come in and rush the passer. He's been very consistent health wise. I don't think he's missed a game. Hasn't started a lot of games,
Okay.
but he took his strength. He took to another level. Guy who came in and tied for the league lead in forced fumbles, put up 16 sacks, really became a force, and he did so on a team that I love and I rooted for dearly. Didn't show up in the Super Bowl, which I can't ignore,
Oh,
and his
oh.
run defense grade was pretty rough. But let's be honest, when the Eagles signed Hassan Reddick, did you think that was what we were going to get? Because I was surprised. I thought it was a good signing, great money, for the what you were getting, but I was surprised who we were getting, and he balled out. I expect him to do what he did last year again and keep it consistent, and I can't wait. So my number four is Hassan Reddick, who I think is going to keep getting better. And he's young, still. I want to say, wait, he's 27, I think he is. But
Okay,
a
now
guy who
now now I'm not as worried that I think you don't have this guy on your list either, so I feel better now. So
Well, what? So Chandler Jones is your biggest oopsie?
yeah, yeah.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. So who's your number four or your number three? I'm sorry.
So yeah, we've had a little for as much as we're arguing, we have a lot of similarities. So my number three, and I felt it appropriate to have him right ahead of his former teammate Brian Burns. I have Hassan Reddick here at number three.
Hmm. Okay, no
Um,
arguments.
Absolutely loved that signing, and I was rooting for him because obviously he went to Temple, drafted in the first round to Arizona. He had that first two like weird years, or maybe it was his first 3 years were like just abysmal. Kind of like what they have with Simmons over there. He's not doing anything either. Um,
He had to find his role. He was a rotational pass rush guy who
yeah.
got his full opportunity with the Eagles and unleashed hell.
Well, you can look at. I'm just looking at like his like stats here across the years, and first, he was listed as a DN his rookie year. Then he was listed as a left outside linebacker, or left outside. Then he was listed as left interior linebacker. I think that's when they switched over to 3-4. Then he was a left outside backer. Then he was a right linebacker with Carolina. Now he's an edge rusher with Philly. So he's been all over the place, and he's had different teams, different defensive coordinators. But the last 3 years, all over 10 sacks, and like you said, career high 16 sacks, second best in the league. You know, obviously, you had Nick Bosa winning Defensive Player of the Year, but I would argue Hassan was just as worthy of that title. I
I
think
would
he
agree
came
with
in
that.
four. I don't know what this means. He either came in fourth or he had 4 votes for Defensive Player of the Year.
I think he
Um,
came in fourth.
huh?
I think he came in fourth.
Yeah, I think you're right. Um,
I usually am.
but yeah, unfortunately, did disappear during the Super Bowl. But he also took Brock Purdy out of the championship game, so we'll give him that, I guess. But
Can't block him with tight end.
I will say though, I don't. If you're one of the best of your positions, and obviously number three on my list, you should find a way to get to the quarterback and make a play. But that Super Bowl at times for me is like an outlier because I just think the coaching was just so far superior on Kansas City side. They just game planned so well to stop us at everything we excelled at. Couldn't run the ball, couldn't rush the passer. Um, but that's a story for another day. But yeah,
Well, that's because Rich Gannon or John Gannon or whatever the hell, Jonathan Gannon.
Rich.
It's because Jonathan Gannon was wearing his Arizona Cardinals hat every night, FaceTime with his mom, how proud and excited he was to be the big boy at Arizona. Well, look, mom, I'm going to be a head coach. Woohoo! But we
Yes,
digress.
we digress.
I'm going to roll into a guy who is top three. He is elite. Well, I won't hate you too much because he was in your rankings towards the top. But listen, he was the most dominant player on the Rams. And I mean that, even with Aaron Donald when they won the Super Bowl. He was the difference maker on the Bills because he got hurt and they weren't the same team without him. And when they lost the Bengals, that's who they needed. They needed a guy who could get to the quarterback and get past that offensive line. He had 8 sacks in 11 games. Yeah, that's still top 10 numbers or top 20 numbers. I'm sorry. He's an elite guy. Sure, I'll hear the argument about his torn ACL coming back. Fine. But there's no like he was on top of his game. We'll see how he bounces back, but from what I've seen, from how dominant he was the last 2 years, I don't see why he wouldn't be able to bounce back. So I got Von Miller number three.
So, with that being said, I do think we have the same one and two. However, how do you come off? I mean, these players aren't super comparable where they're at in their careers, but you go from saying Joey Bosa at number 10 because he can't stay healthy and he's got injury concerns, but a second torn ACL for Von Miller at his age is not a concern for you? You don't think that's the problem?
Because Von Miller's peak was this year before he tore his ACL and last year when he won the Super Bowl with the Rams. And
I
his
wouldn't.
peak
No, I
better
he
than anything Joey Bosa's ever put
no
together.
his
Oh,
peak
no,
was
you know
with
what? I'm sorry. I'm
his
sorry.
peak
You're
was with
right. Yeah,
Denver.
I hear you there. I apologize. But his peak, or no, his performance that he was putting with the Rams when they won the Super Bowl and the Buffalo Bills before he got hurt, better than anything Joey Bosa's ever done in his career.
I'm not going to disagree with that, but I just think the you're in,
Because you know what,
you're
Von
flip
Miller,
flopping injury concerns here. So
because Von Miller's been, he showed me he could be excellent, and he's got a higher, he's already shown me he's a better player. And really, because Von Miller showed me he could be Von Miller before he got hurt. And I think he's going to be able to bounce back. I could be wrong, but Joey Bosa was never that good of a player compared to what Von Miller is. He wasn't Von Miller before, he got hurt.
so if you're the GM of a team right now and you have the money to sign either Joey Bosa or Von Miller,
Oh, it's Von Miller without even thinking.
okay,
Without even thinking.
I would
Without
probably
a
take
doubt.
Von Miller too if he clears all his physicals
I
and
don't see
stuff.
what the
But
argument is.
okay,
Von Miller doesn't throw his helmet down and blow a 28-point lead and have a hissy fit.
no, he just has a weird like mohawk tail thing going on. But
It works.
yeah. All right,
So who's your number two? Let's see.
so
Is there any hiccup here, or are we going one and two the same exact
no,
player?
I think these are gonna be the same here. I wasn't gonna be a homer. I wasn't gonna be a fanboy. And it's hard to say I kind of like this guy because half the time I hate him, half the time I like him. He's a former Penn State alum. Um, he's
Wow.
shown interest in, he went to a Sixers game. He was wearing a Maxi jersey. Like, it's a
Can
weird
I ask
guy.
you
I don't
this?
what.
Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
Because I think it's a big violation when it comes to fashion. Basketball jersey with undershirt. Can't do it. Can't be done. And
Oh, I do it
Micah
all the time.
Parsons for what? Oh, you cannot wear
I
a
don't have
basketball
I don't
jersey.
have the muscles to rock
But
it without
okay,
the
first off,
shirt.
Micah Parsons does. But you remember when the KD Warriors were winning and everyone then they were rocking the short sleeve jerseys? Oh, I hated them. Hated everything about them. They're so stupid.
No,
You wear a basketball jersey, you cannot wear an undershirt.
I'll give you one better, bigger fashion violation, wearing a basketball jersey over a flannel because that's what he did in the
Oh yeah.
Celtics game.
Guy has guy like it's literally honestly, it's like
I
he
was like,
shows
"What are
up
you
to
wearing,
games.
bro?"
It's like he shows up to games and they just give him a jersey to
That's
wear.
honestly
Like
probably what happened.
and to be fair, I mean, listen, I understand where you're coming from. Like, yeah, like basketball jerseys can be intimidating if
You can wear
you
a
don't have.
plain white tee with any basketball
No,
jersey.
no,
I
disagree.
disagree with you on that.
I disagree. But you know what? When you're Micah fucking
We'll run a
Parsons,
poll. We'll
you
run a
don't wear
poll. Find
sleeves.
out the truth.
When you're Micah Parsons, you don't wear sleeves. How are you wearing sleeves under
Oh
your
no, yeah,
basketball
I wouldn't.
jersey?
I would have just rocked that shit shirtless, basically,
I
on my
don't get it.
skin.
I couldn't agree with you more. And like I just don't get it. Michael Parsons, what are you doing? Yeah, well, first off, like we know you want to be an Eagle,
That's been
but
I love that joke.
we get that. We get that. And we would love to have you. But
Come on down to Broad Street.
but just because you're wearing a Tyrese Maxey jersey doesn't mean you can get away with wearing an undershirt or a flannel at Dallas. Oh boy, yeah, that was ugly.
Yeah.
I will say this, I'm surprised because
The,
we're
the
talking
list,
about two.
like I was pretty on point. I said the list was going to be rough at the beginning, and then we would have enough similarities towards the end, and I think that's exactly what happened. But um, yeah, Micah
I'll,
Parsons.
it doesn't surprise me because you like to ignore last year when we did these rankings. So I did go with Parsons, obviously, but he's number one. TJ Watt is number two.
Oh,
Parsons is coming off the better year.
oh,
Dude, he's coming off the better year.
oh. Okay.
And he's younger. I hate him. I hate it. But
Hmm.
besides when Jalen Hurts is putting him on ice skates,
That
the
was
most
funny. Yeah.
dominant. He's the most dominant defensive player, versatility wise. outside of Aaron Donald. But TJ Watt down year, Micah Parsons up year. You're talking about two elite talents. What decides the debate? What did you do for me lately? And Mike Parsons is the guy. Yeah, I mean, I won't fight you on this one. I'll argue all day with you about Matthew Judon at number 10 and Chandler Jones even being in this list.
Hmm.
But flip TJ Watt or Parsons if you want. But I got Parsons number 1 right now and TJ Watt number 2.
I'll take one of your favorite words was included in this PFF explanation of Mr. TJ Watt. While TJ Watt was hurt last season, when healthy, he is a walking master class of how to play
Ooh.
the edge position. They
Thanks
must
for
have
letting me
been
know.
they must have been listening to our podcast. I think that's how they
I'm
got
gonna
that
have to
word.
trademark that one. Free
Yeah,
masterclass.
yeah. I don't. It's a coin flip, and we've talked a lot about injuries on this episode, so I understand where you're coming from. TJ Watt did play half the season. So TJ Watt, yes, is my number one. I just think there's a slight. So Michael Parsons, he's moved around a lot, and now he's trying to get bigger. Apparently, he wants to maybe transition to defensive end, like more hand to the ground stuff. But I don't know. I just think TJ Watt has established himself, these past X amount of years. I mean, Mike has been a all pro in both seasons. He's been in the
I
league,
won't
so
argue with
not
you
gonna
there.
not gonna
I mean, as soon as he walked in the league, listen, I'm not looking forward to 5 years of dominance from Michael Parsons in Dallas unless he wants to hop over to Philly, which we all know he wants to do. You might as well fulfill your desires. But TJ Watt, pass rush specialist, incredible pass rush, probably the best pass rusher in the league. Micah Parsons does so much more. He's such a play. Like when he came in the league, he wasn't a pass rush guy. He was an outside guy. He can cover. He can play the run. Micah Parsons is so versatile. He plays so many positions. TJ Watt is incredible at what he does, and he's probably the best. But when I have like just give me a better football player, it has to be Micah Parsons. His versatility. This isn't pass rusher. This is outside linebacker, edge rusher. Like this is the position.
I will say,
And
I surprisingly I do agree with you on that. Where you could put Michael Parsons at safety, and I'm sure he would do a good job.
oh, he'd be fine. Yeah,
Um,
he'd be fine.
he is able to be kind of moved around, which I think is a reason why his stats are a little skewed.
Yeah,
For
if he
being the
ran
number
against,
one or two
if
edge
he pass
rusher.
rushed every single play like TJ Watt does, then yeah, he'd
Right,
have more sacks.
right. I mean, he was seventh in sacks with 14, seventh in fumbles with 3, 10th in tackles with 37 for edge rushers. So, those aren't like you wouldn't say, although he's not top two from those stats, but it's not that. It's just like he's just everywhere. We talk a lot about, the awareness and high motors and stuff like that. Like he is the embodiment of being all over the field, being essentially a ball hawk in that essence, where he's just sniffing it out, finding the run, finding who has the ball, making a play, stopping them on, third down. So I hate to gloat about a Dallas Cowboy like this, but he is he's a
No, it sickens
pretty
me.
generational talent in his first 2 years. So we'll see how he continues to to go on with this. But
We just need to let him fulfill his childhood dream and play for the Eagles.
what's even more disgusting? He was
Go ahead.
born in 1999.
Mm, it makes me feel old.
Yeah, doesn't it? We were once at the time where we were like, I remember like 6, 7 years ago, we're like, oh, now we're the same age as players getting drafted. And now it's like, oh, they're much younger now. But
Well, I think that's like don't get me wrong, TJ Watt is incredible. He's like the benchmark of what you want as a defensive player, but Micah Parsons came into the league like that, and he's been like that. He came in, I mean, you could argue TJ Watt winning that defensive player of the year. He, you know, Aaron Donald, Michael Parsons, Von Miller, they were all in the same conversation. But Michael Parsons was a rookie. And he's only going to get better. I mean, he's a two-time All Pro in 2 seasons. And I think
yeah,
he's so versatile. He's just going to figure out how to play better, and he's going to figure out how to be used better. It sickens me because obviously he's on the Cowboys, and I think the Cowboys get by because they have Michael Parsons, who's so versatile. but we'll see. I mean, when you talk about just outside linebacker or football players, it's Michael Parsons. Pass rusher, sure. Yeah, TJ Watt is still the premier pass rusher in the NFL, even off coming off an injury. But when you talk about position, NFL player, get me a football player on the field, it has to be Michael Parsons.
I mean, yeah, if we were talking pure position, um, but this is an edge rusher episode, so that's why I gave TJ the nod. And I mean, he's been five straight Pro Bowls after he had his rookie year where he was just kind of getting the ropes of everything, and then he had 13, 14, 15, 22 and a half, and then last year he had 5.5 sacks and only played in 10 games, 12 QB hits in 10 games, uh, only 10 less solo tackles than Micah in 7 less games. So he's a machine. Like he is, and I'm actually we'll end it on this question since I will say 1 and 2 are a coin flip, but I'm glad we had the same two. Do you in his the grand scheme of everything, like trajectory wise, looking at his projections, do you think TJ Watt is going to surpass JJ Watt as far as like when they both retire, you'll
Mm,
say which one was better?
no, no.
No. Okay.
I need to
I
see a
I
little bit more of
I thought
like.
I feel the same, but I feel like I don't know. It's hard.
Let's be honest.
JJ did play quite a bit ago now. I feel like when he was in his prime, but
Sure. But I mean, we're talking about one defensive player of the year to like three. JJ Watt had multiple seasons of like 20
I
sacks or
mean,
18
yeah, but
sacks.
I mean TJ's still in his it was just his sixth season he finished, so he's still got half his career left.
I mean, sure, but he like even his defensive player of the year season, I don't think stacks up with what JJ Watt was putting out there. He
22 and a half
invented,
sacks.
I mean, sure, but
Doesn't
but
that
is he
doesn't that
bad?
tie the record?
Yeah, but his brother had
What
20
do
and a
you mean,
half
yeah.
sacks, 17. His brother had 20 and a half sacks twice. He had
Okay.
2 seasons of 20 sacks plus. He had 17 and a half sacks. His brother also was a force. Like his brother invented batting the ball down. Like TJ Watt
That's
doesn't do
true.
that.
That's true.
TJ Watt rushes off the edge. JJ Watt was just a force where he was getting 20 sacks on the inside. He wasn't an edge rusher like TJ. He was getting the 20 sacks on the inside that we've never seen outside of Aaron Donald. But his brother was also jumping up and batting down every ball that even looked his way. I mean, sure, I like TJ Watt. I'm not saying he can't do it, but as of right now, he's not in the conversation. His brother's much better than him. And I know you're over here oohing and ahhing about TJ Watt's 5.5 sacks in what 10 games.
Hmm.
It's your boy Von Miller, who you were disrespecting and hating on. He had 8 sacks in 11 games last week. But
He played in 15
each to a
games
pair,
last
right?
year.
He played in 11, but relax.
Okay. Okay. I don't know where you get your stats from. No, I was just curious. I just wanted your opinion. I also agree. I think at this point, JJ will finish out as the superior player, but I wouldn't say he's not in the same ballpark. I mean, exclude last year, he was third. Came in third in defensive player of the year. Then he was second in defensive player of the year. Then he was number 1 in defensive player of the year. That means he's a top 3 defensive player 3 years in a row. That's some
You know what
pretty.
he needs? TJ Watt has another best year of his career next year or 2 years from now. Like does another like one of his seasons that he had for defense play of the year, then we'll talk.
Okay.
But he needs at least one more season of that because JJ Watt made that almost consistent for like 4 years in a row.
Fair enough. Um, yeah, like I said, I agree with you. I just wanted to see what your thought was. Um,
It's a good debate to have. We'll see how
yeah.
it goes.
So the one player I accidentally cut from my list, that was going to be like the 8 to 10 range, um, was Rashawn Gary from the Packers.
Mm,
But
I
seeing
like
as though
Rashawn
you
Gary.
didn't have him, I felt a little
He's
better.
hurt. He
Yeah.
was hurt.
Half the players on our list were hurt, but
I mean, don't get me wrong. If I had to give one more honorable mention, like you did, it would have been Rashawn Gary, and it definitely wouldn't have been Chandler Jones.
which is funny because you were advocating for Chandler Jones last year, but
I know, and he proved me wrong. And you know what? You took his worst year of his career and started advocating for him now. You're
well,
like,
it's because
oh
I
fuck,
was
I was
I
he.
was I was right on the money, and then so I'm flipping the script. That's how you got to keep
I don't
people
know
on
how
their
that
toes.
works. Yeah. You're like, this is the one moment where you were right over me, and you like double down on the other
Oh,
way.
there's been more than one, buddy.
Yeah, we'll see about that. All right, well, hey, till the next time. I think we wrapped up this DN edge rusher segment pretty well.
Yeah.
Chandler Jones is definitely not top 10, but we'll leave it alone. TJ
Yeah.
Watt with his 5.5 sacks in 10 games makes him the best edge rusher in the game, but 8 sacks in 10 game or 11 games for Von Miller, is, nothing apparently. So
I mean, these aren't based on per season awards. This is, their career and what they're looking at for next year. But I mean,
that's
yeah.
true because
We
Matthew
each,
Judon coming off the best season of his career was down at 10.
I mean, best season of his career was what, 12 and a half sacks? I mean, or 14 sacks. Eh.
It only gets better from now, but
I mean, he's 30. I don't know how much better he's going to get, but
I mean, you just told me Chandler Jones is going to have a bounce back year at 33.
I said bounce back. I didn't say he was getting better. Just say he was going to have a bounce back year. All right.
And
Anyways,
we'll
I'm glad
we'll
that
see from there.
this was a little more of the classic back and forth, fighting. I feel like our defensive ends was pretty passive, but this was a good list. I think both of our lists are respectable. I mean, mine's a little zesty, but
I'm taking Chandler Jones, but yeah, I agree with you.
okay.
Maybe 5 years ago, but
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, without further ado, it was a pleasure. Get some shut eye over there in England, and we'll catch you later.
take it easy. I'll talk to you again. Never wear an undershirt on a basketball jersey. And Michael
We'll
Parsons to the Eagles.
we'll run a poll. I think people will be quite okay with wearing undershirts. So,
There's a reason the NBA doesn't wear those short sleeve basketball jerseys
well, I'm
anymore.
not sweating on the court. I'm sitting watching a game. So, bless you.
Yeah. Thank you. Till next time, my friend.
All right. Peace out.
Peace.
Thank you again for listening to the Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks Sports Podcast. Please like, follow, and subscribe on all your major platforms. Follow us on YouTube, follow the show on Spotify and Apple, and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Have a great day, and tune in next week.